Well, the fact that we had a large group this year, about over 218 people, I believe, it's just great that we were able to get that many people to go with us and that they were all excited about the trip.
That's right. Even on the way to the hotel, you pass by the Mirkuti, the pyramids. And so you see those beautiful dusky images right in the horizon as you travel straight from the airport to the hotel. So this year, I know we went directly to our hotel, and so we relaxed for a minute, got some debriefing on what was going to happen for the rest of our trip, and we saw everyone was still very excited and waiting to see all the incredible things.
Welcome to Cairo, Egypt. Amasu and Patentere.
Amasu and Patentere.
Sausu.
Sausu.
Emetra.
Emetra.
And Patentere.
A student seeking to be a scholar.
I'm a student seeking to be a scholar.
Standing in excellence today as well.
Standing in excellence today and tomorrow.
I am disciplined, focused, and on time.
I'm disciplined, focused, and on time.
I think what's nice for this group this year is that we decided to switch the schedule up a little bit and go directly to the cruise ship on the Nile, or the Hapi as we called it back in ancient times. But people were able to see the belly dancers, they were able to see the whirling dervish where the man is meditating and spinning around in his fabric and being able to balance while dancing. So, for children again who haven't seen anything like this, to see this on the first night, it kind of gives them an idea of how exciting the rest of the trip is going to be. So our first lecture, I believe, was Runoko Rashidi.
Yes, the
Great
eminent,
historian,
incredible
Dr.
Runoko
Rashidi.
Rashidi.
If you don't go anywhere in your life, if you leave the United States, come to Egypt. Because in Egypt, you can see what African people did when we ruled the world.
And so then from there, I think we went directly into getting out there and seeing those wonderful monuments on the Giza Plateau.
Well, then we had the other group, part of the group, go to see the solar boat.
That's right.
And to actually see a boat that is thousands of years old, that's actually still seaworthy. And the fact that they actually kept the instructions, they took the boat apart, put it into pieces, and created instructions for people to be able to put it back together. I mean, this is thousands of years ago. And to be able to take that boat and put it out on the water again.
That's right. And my understanding is that after taking it out into all these 1,500 pieces, it took almost a decade for them to put it back together. Then we traveled over to another part of the plateau where we saw an incredible sight. The site of the great Heru-Amonkhet, also known as the Sphinx. And after that, I think some of our folks were brave enough to try to take camel rides.
Which is actually kind of funny.
The Egyptian Museum in Cairo was also a really incredible experience.
That's right. Remember the hair room.
You gotta talk about the hair room. The hair room is usually, we see it right after we come out of Tutankhamun's room. And of course it's off to the side. But there you'll see that sisters and brothers and all of our people in ancient Egypt were wearing locks and wearing braids. And so I think we really get clear about what kind of people they were once you get in to see the hair room.
But we went into Luxor Temple and did that wonderful tour where we talked about the temple itself being the blueprint for the divine human being. And that as you're walking through the different chambers, you're actually in different body parts that are supposed to be symbolic of how we're supposed to treat our inner temple in order to be divine. And I thought that was incredible. And actually looking at the lotus columns.
But if you look on the capitals, they are not very well painted like the ones we have seen in Karnak. But in this court, they used to celebrate the wedding of god Amun-Ra with goddess Mut. They will carry the holy boat, sacred boat, on the shoulders of the priests to come to the temple, walking through the colonnaded area and then the avenue of sphinxes. where you have seen part of it there, because the two temples were connected to each other.
Often they'll say that Karnak, the Ephesus, is actually the largest spiritual center still in existence in the world because it's so immense. But I always say that Karnak and Luxor really should be considered one temple because they're connected by that avenue of Harem Anket statues. Some of them are ram-headed and some of them are human-headed.
And this shows you really the beginning of Judaism, the beginning of Christianity. They were also in our African land. That's the reason we all have to cope together and to practice our religions. No one, is better than the other one. All religions are equal from my point of view, because if you search in the roots, they all come from our land. That's the reason we have to respect each other religions.
And so from there, we actually were able to go and see Hatshepsut's temple, on sort of the other side of the cliffs at the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of Queens. So when we got into Aswan, which is really the home of the Nubians, I think most people are amazed at the fact that as soon as we get off the bus, then we get onto a boat, and the boat goes to an island, and it's. I don't even know if they're able to really understand or fathom the concept that the hotel is not on the island.
It is
the island is the hotel. And so that's always a lot of fun too.
Nubian Museum was very interesting. It's not as well visited as other places, which I thought was interesting.
You'll see the time starting with the Badari period, civilization being as old as 3500 BC. It goes through each intermediate period. Remember when we were on the bus, we talked about the rise and fall of several of the civilizations, and each time there was a conquering of one of the dynasties. Okay. So the comment is that they look more African and not Arab. So yes, these are darker skinned people. These are the people that are considered the Nubians. Now,
after they get to Abu Simbel, when they walk around that corner and see that structure of those four monumental structures of Ramses II, also known as Usur Ma'at Ras or Tepen Ra, it is just amazing. Each of them is about 6 stories high, and they are probably one of the world's great wonders.
Nefertari, she has her own temple that he created for
The
her.
beautiful one has arrived, Nefertari.
That was incredible because you go in there and you see her in the image of Het Heru, which is the principle of beauty, dance, art, and music, and she's playing music with her sistrum, and just you're still able to see images that are left on the wall. Now, Ramesses II had over 100 to 150 children. So he was trying to make sure that his bloodline remained very strong. He took care of all of his wives and was married to Nefertari for approximately 20 years until she passed on, and then took on Asnofret as his next great wife.
And one of the evenings, we decided that we were going to have dinner on the desert. And so you remember what that was like?
Yeah, well, Janice and Glorious did a great job with, the event planning. So we had couples that actually renewed their vows, and some people who actually wanted to be married there symbolically. I remember we did that a couple of years ago.
Yes,
so
we did.
It's
Yes,
a
we
beautiful
did.
experience. You're out, these cushions that we sat on, and these low tables, and there's drumming, and there's dancing, and just music everywhere. There's food everywhere. We finally.
I'm excited. And so the journey from here is not at its end, it's just at its beginning.
Yeah.
Wonderful.